Welcome to the Financial Game Plan with Hannah. I'm your host, Hannah Burchajay, and welcome to the Financial Game Plan with Hannah. Today, I have Vijay Patel with me today. I'm really excited to learn about him. I don't know much about him. I know that he made a post on Facebook, and me being the crazy stalker lady, went straight to his DMs like, hey, I want you on my show. So, Vijay Patel, thank you so much for spending time with us, and welcome to the show.
Sure. Thanks, Hannah, for having me. Just a brief introduction. My name is Vijay Patel. I own the Future Group. It's a real estate company. We also do some other stuff. I own, I'm a medical doctor, but I don't practice. I still own clinics here in Dallas. But my most of the background is in healthcare. I started in healthcare, but mostly on the management side. We used to run hospitals, nursing homes, senior livings, you name it, I've done it. So that's what I did for first 8 years of my career. And then like everybody hits like a burnout point, right? So I was doing good, but it wasn't like something I was enjoying. So I was like, okay, and plus I'm working for corporate. So like it's never fun, right? You have to take
Right.
orders every morning. So I was like, no, I'm done. Like I don't want to take orders. So from that point, I just gave up, working for corporate and then started my own journey. So initially, for a short period of time, I started flipping healthcare businesses full time. So similarly, people flipping houses, and I still do it on my side gig. I still flip healthcare businesses on site because, coming from my background, healthcare industry is the most vaguely and poorly managed industry in entire segment that you name it, right? There's so much of waste of money. So if you know what you're doing, there's a lot of money to be made. And it has its own good side, bad side. But I started my real estate career in 2010 around, started investing as a passive investor. That was my first exposure as a multifamily syndication. But that was the time that I realized that what I have been doing for 8 years in healthcare, like going in, fixing the hospital, bringing up compliance, bringing up, occupancy, tenant, fixing all those things, revenues. I'm a numbers guy, so I always go in, fix the numbers, and mostly like things fixes. Like my theory is if I fix the numbers, the things will fix itself. So I always dig down in the numbers and then try to fix the numbers and property act just fix it itself, right? So that's kind of a short story. So far, I have done 1,700 doors as a transaction in last 12 years. As of last year, I sold everything as far as the multifamily is concerned because I saw a couple of things that was red flags to me, and I just decided to sell everything. And then I've been moving into alternative asset like RV parks, self-storage, mobile homes, buying and selling bank-owned portfolios, buying and selling even real estate notes, hotels, even overseas resorts. We are looking into some overseas resort like Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Virgin Islands, where there are some resort opportunities where people are not just managing it right. And like if we manage it right, then there is some money to be made.
Wow. Okay. So, medical doctor reached his burnout point. Totally get that. I'm a school teacher. I'm about at that point. So, I'm with you on that. Real estate is an avenue that makes true wealth. From what you've just said, you have reached a level to where you're able to do so many things that you want. Can you tell us some of the red flags that you saw that made you say, I need to bounce out of this and try something different? What were those flags?
So the number one thing was it's my personal thing right from my high school is when I see everybody else is doing, I don't want to do it. I hate to be the commoner. Like I never liked that. And in 2020, I see like almost 17 or close to 20 so-called gurus are flooding the market with overnight students. Like they are just taking a weekend course and now everybody's just pumped up. Oh, everybody's just buying multifamily, throwing offer left and right. And it was just a crazy market. Like, people were just buying based on, like the next door property sold like 20 days ago for this much. So that's why I'm going to just justify $160,000 a door. So that was, like the situation where I saw like they're just like, people with less experience just jumping on, and it's nothing wrong, but at the same time, just do the smaller deals. But like, it just becomes scary when, like, somebody doing their first deal as a 40-50 million dollar deal, and trying to pull all those things together, and like, they just don't know the worst part of it. Like, if everything goes good, you're fine, but your skills are really tested when things are not right. And now we are really facing that. So it was like kind of a peak of a curve where I saw that, okay, like, interest rates are going up. You can't just keep like hoping that the rent is just going to go up higher and higher. Occupancy, again, like, if the market turns down, occupancy, of course, takes a hit, so people will move from different classes, like, A class to B class, B class to C class, C class to RV park. So there's a lot of movement happening, and it's hard to keep up with the occupancy and hoping you can still increase the rates. The biggest surprise since last year was the insurance prices.
Mm.
So the market like Florida, Houston, their insurance, like, expenses went up by almost 200 or 300%. So they are achieving the $400 of a rent growth, but it's just eaten up by the insurance and other logistic that just increased in last 1 year, and even just cost of the loan. So there are two big factors: is like cost of the loan, and insurance itself is eating that $400. So now all those people are going net to net, or even in negative cash flow by $20,000-$30,000 a month.
Wow. I could not go in negative. I could not imagine going negative 20,000 a month. That is insane. I know it happens on the larger scales, but I could not imagine that on my scale. You
Yep.
said you were looking at other asset classes, RV park, self-storage. Can you walk me through that journey that you've gone through so far?
Yep. So like, when I decided to get out of multifamily, like, my burning point was, okay, what else, right? So that's where I started looking into all the alternative asset class. And what I found out is the risk is less, and I can still hit the benchmark numbers. So for me, my benchmark number is 6 to 8% cash flow, 20% IRR, and 2x equity multiplier. So anybody who is investing money with me will get their money double in 3 years or maximum 5 years. I typically do cycle of 3 years. It's hardly that we have to go for 5 year cycle. So those are my personal benchmark. And when I started evaluating the numbers of RV park, what I saw is like, not only I can beat my own numbers, but I can exceed. So the RV park numbers are so impressive that we can achieve 25 to 30% IRR. So a couple of deals we are already actively doing and under contract and things like that, that we will be almost hitting 25% or 30% IRR.
That's fantastic. Like, holy moly. You said that you're looking at all these asset classes. Are you seeing a lot of competition in these asset classes? Because I didn't hear anything about RV parks a couple of years ago. Now RV parks are flooding my feed. They're all over everything. Are you seeing that?
Same thing with multifamily. Like 3-4 years ago, nobody was talking about multifamily, and suddenly there was a boom of multifamily, right? So I can definitely see a boom in RV park and self-storage, but there's still enough like space to be creative, I would say. Like, if you're just doing a typical transaction, yeah, there's not going to be much money to be made, because you already buying at higher price, and like, there's no room for making money. But if you know the market, and if you know what you're doing, then there has to be some value add that we can definitely like get out of it, right? So the right now, like, the current deal we have is in Lake Fork, Texas. So Lake Fork, Texas is something that people don't even know about. But like, when we found the deal, we found out that, like, the city is known for national level fishing tournaments. So it's a big deal. There are a lot of travelers coming to the town for the national tournament every year, and plus all year long they're hosting local tournaments, like domestic tournaments and all that. So city is very big on that, and a lot of RVs going in and out for that particular reason. So if you know those insights, or you do your own due diligence, then yeah, it makes sense. Otherwise, if you just Google it and living in Florida and just try to look up in Google Map, then Lake Fork is middle of nowhere.
How are you finding these RV parks? Are you working with other investors? Are you working with agents? What are you doing to find these deals?
So over the period of time, I have developed a good relationship with real like off-market realtors.
Mhm.
So like now it's kind of automation that like every day I wake up and there's a 20 deal in my email.
Wow.
And
Okay.
plus I have a Facebook channel with almost 1,500 people that is like, a way of communication where all the deal flow happens. So
Gotcha.
and we do have like a private channel too where it's exclusive to paid members where whatever off-market deals we are getting, they can have a first-hand access before it even goes to the market.
What made you create these channels on Facebook?
So like I was going like getting deals more than even I can chew. And that's where I created all the channels that if I cannot buy it, let's just create a platform where other people can buy it.
Have you seen an uptick of people in these platforms you've created
Oh
since
yeah,
multifamily
yeah.
and you've seen that?
Yeah, like RV park commercial is huge. A lot of people are buying commercials from my channels. So commercial properties are a big hit. But RV parks, self-storage, those are also like something like if it is a good deal, people will line up for it.
So I am not familiar with buying an RV park or self-storage. Is it the same as buying a multifamily deal or is it structured differently?
So syndication wise, it's same, but asset class wise is different because the demographic is different. The catering population is different. There's no monthly or lease agreement. So
Mm,
you are renting those per night. So it's kind of a hotel model.
okay.
But like in RV parks, you still have 30 to 40% long-term tenants and 60% will be a traveler. They will pay weekly, daily, or monthly basis depending upon their need. But the biggest factor for RV park is a blue collar job. So RV park basically runs on blue collar jobs. So electrician, plumbers, oil and gas workers, anybody who is a temporary jobs like construction workers, builders. So those people live in RV park because they know in 6 8 months they will be moving the town, switching it, so they don't want to buy a house and settle down and keep changing addresses and things like that. And there's a lifestyle. So 30 to 40% seniors, they prefer to live in RV park. So they are retired. They don't want to stuck at one place or you know have fixed thing, right? So every 4 6 months they just keep moving their RV and going to different locations.
Everything that you were saying is absolutely correct. I know tons of blue collar workers who have done that with the RVs. My husband did that eons ago whenever he worked in a different a different field. He did that. My in-laws just sold their house and they're full-time camping and going and doing and bebopping. So I really like what you're saying. I want to know about who is running your RV parks, who is running all of these businesses, because I know that you're not the one personally out there fixing and doing stuff. How does property management work for an RV park?
So I always partner up with 4 to 5 guys. So my deal is involving like 4 to 5 people having different expertise. So my expertise is capital raise or finding deals. But I have other partners. There's a guy named Joe. He is a construction guy. So he has a construction background. You can ask him to build a palace, he can do it. So he has done everything, like you name it, multifamily RV park. So there is one RV park that we are doing ground up, like getting permits, zoning, doing all the electrical plumbing, concrete work, all the labor, right? He knows how to
Right.
find laborers and do this. So and then there's other guy, his name is John. He has an IT background, but he owns 15 RV parks. So he's on the management side. He has its own, like he built up his own proprietary software to do the
Cool.
bookings for RV park. So he knows ins and out when it comes to management side. There's a lot of automation that we are adding, so people don't have to wait. There's a kiosk, you just pay for it, and like the hookups will be ready for you.
Wow. How are you finding the people to build your teams? Because it sounds like I know the RV park is one specific team, but it sounds like everyone has their own little job, which makes, everything get better. But how are you finding the people to fit your needs?
So a lot of networking. It's not like, oh, there is a site or there is a job posting for it. But over the period of time, you meet people and then you just screen them that, okay, like this guy was good for this. And then you just keep those in mind. So when the time is right, you just call him up and say, hey, John, I have this. Do you want it? And like he does the same with me.
How are you meeting people? You're saying networking. Are you going to conferences? Are you doing local events? How are you meeting the people to fit those
So
needs?
my biggest reach is the social media. That's what I'm trying to like reach people, because the biggest light bulb that happened in my life recently is I'm just getting random DMs from people. Hey, I'm getting like, I see your content. I like what you do. And, there are things that like they ask if they have questions, or they get my feedback, advice, or if they're looking into deal, what do you think, kind of a thing. So I just help out people. But it does make me realize that my reach is beyond even I know people. So I can only have 5,000 people on my Facebook, but my reach is almost 200 or 200,000 people. So I just checked my Facebook account this morning, and I'm easily reaching almost 100 to 150,000 people per week.
Wow. It's obviously working because I reached out to you via your Facebook post. So
Yeah.
it's definitely working. And here you are now dropping these nuggets of wisdom to my listeners. I really appreciate it. I want to know what your thoughts are on the market. I know it's volatile, it's messy. Insurance you brought up, which is, crazy killer with the cash flow. What are your thoughts on the market? Where do you think you're going? I realize your crystal ball is probably not working, but what are your thoughts?
So it's kind of a cool down period. It's going to be longer than people are expecting, because with the election and everything that
Hmm.
else that goes on. Uh, what I'm proposing is like not 6 months, but 8 months to a 12-month period where interest rate will go down, but at the same time, people who bought it like properties in last 2 years, there's going to be a lot of discounted properties. Like
Hmm.
in next 6 to 8 months, because I know from my personal network that 50% of the operator who bought the properties in the last 2 years, they're already going neck to neck, or
Yeah.
they're just surviving by putting their money from out of their pocket. So all those deals, like not everybody, but half of them will not be able to survive, because there will be a point where, okay, like, you can't put money no longer from your pocket because your pockets are running out, right? So at that point, you will see a lot of deals going at a discount, like 30%, 40%. And that will be my entry point to come back to multifamily.
Are you thinking that people should be prepared, have their cash reserves ready for whenever it does go belly up? And I'm sorry for the people that's going to happen to, but for the other people who are prepared, is this the time to buy?
Yeah, if you are on a buyer side, yeah, just keep your eyes and ears open, because it's already happening. It's just matter of you finding that particular deal where somebody is desperate.
How are you finding the markets that you want to invest in, whether it's RV park, self-storage, or when you get back into multifamily? How do you pick your markets?
So I have been living in Texas, and like, I have seen the growth of Texas. So I
Mm,
always play with Texas. The most market I go with is Carolinas or Kansas or Idaho, because their number looks good. The
hmm.
purchase price is still like decent. The growth is there. The state is growing. So what I see is like, growth in general. Like, so I don't go to California because there's already enough growth. So there's no more growth happening, right? The whatever they're doing, they're just dealing with what is existing. So,
Right.
but Kansas, Idaho, or Carolinas are getting influx of new people and getting some new employers. So just North Carolina is getting a $200 million Caesar's Palace casino. They're just building right outside of LA. So those kind of things are happening new, which is going to add easily. Just the casino itself is going to employ 2 to 3,000 people.
Wow.
So there's going to be a lot of movement. Even Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, they're building a new resort and a new casino in right in border of Texas, Oklahoma. So those kind of things, I do like it, and I try to grab lands or grab deals around it.
Can you tell me about the future group? I see the logo in the background. You mentioned it at the beginning in the briefly in the beginning, but can you walk me back through that process of what y'all do there?
So the future group has different subsidiaries. Number one is healthcare, which is my company that I do it. But then there's a division which my father's business that we oversee, me and my brother. It's diamonds and jewelries. My father is a diamond dealer. He retired, so I oversee the sales. My brother oversees the manufacturing. That's that, and then the real estate component.
How did you, whenever you made that switch from healthcare and you left it into what you're doing now, what were you feeling? Were you excited? Were you anxious? Were you like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Tell me about that.
So I had like 6 months of a brainstorming period where like you feel nervous at the same time excited, right?
Hmm.
But then like in that 6 months, I was able to narrow it down that okay, like is the real estate something I want to do it, right? And then I saw that it was coming from inside kind of a thing, like okay, like this is my calling. I really want to do this, and like I think I will enjoy it. And finance is always my thing. Like if I was not a medical doctor, I would be in finance because I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers. I like dealing with numbers. So anything related to finance would be also something I would be like. I'm still actively pursuing to open up a family office or a wealth management office.
Okay. How would someone get into real estate if they did not have a ton of money? Do you have any tips for them?
Yes. So there are so many opportunities. You don't have to be sitting home just because you don't have the money, right? That you can have a $5,000 or you can have like the minimum I would say is 5,000 or 25,000. So if you have a $5,000, I would say highly invest in coaching programs and educate yourself. And if you have a $25,000, then you can easily invest in somebody else's deal as a passive investor, and then you learn from that.
I like that. I like that you were able to break it down to a bit of a more of attainable numbers. I know you said you're a numbers guy. Are you a books guy as well? Do you read a lot about real estate, personal growth, mindset? Are you into that?
Yeah, like I don't particularly read, but I listen.
Okay. So what do you listen to?
I like Audible,
Hmm.
but yeah, anything personal growth, wealth management, real estate, keeping up with it. The biggest book I always recommend is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm.
So that's one of the book has changed a lot of people's life. Um, Not like much to my extent, but thinking, of course,
Hmm.
it has changed the way you think, the way I think. Uh, like a poor mentality and a rich mentality, right? So there can be two ways of dealing the same situation. Like, do you want to deal with as a poor mentality situation? Same thing, like a money problem, right? So the book talks about money. So the same thing, like if you have a $5,000 and do you want to just keep crying about it, or do you really want to invest that $5,000 and pick up some really good courses or mentors and just lift up yourself? Because if you invest yourself, then people will see that and appreciate it. And they will see that, okay, like, let me help you. And it has happened to me like number of times. I still have older mentors. I have a mentor. He's a wealth management guy, very nice guy. He was coaching me when I was nothing, when he was already something, but I was nothing. So he still uh, liked the spark in me, and like he said, yeah, like you can ask me all the questions you want.
I love that you still talk to your mentors. I think that's fantastic. I just recently joined a mentorship group and I'm very excited to learn all the things. I know, it's one of those things where people say you don't know what you don't know. And although I have some houses and I have a complex, I feel like there's so much I don't know. And I'm not really sure even how to ask some of these questions. It's very exciting that you still do that. I like that. So can we circle back a little bit towards mindset? I know you brought up the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm a huge Kiyosaki fan. I feel like everyone I talk to brings up the Purple Bible, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad is listeners. If you haven't read this book, go get it. Amazon it, Barnes and Noble it. Probably can find it at Goodwill. It's everywhere. That book will change your life. I know for me and my husband, it flipped the switch from that poor mindset to the not poor mindset. Where does mindset play a part in what you do? I mean, you did the doctor thing. You were like, this isn't for me. I want to try something different. Where did mindset play a part of that?
Definitely. See, first, anything you want to do, you have to fix your mind first. Like if you want to do doctor, if you want to do a surgery, or if you want to teach, like you are a teacher. So if you have to take a lecture tomorrow, you have to have a like at least like framework or mind, like okay, like I don't know, I'm taking like a class tomorrow. What's the topic? How like how long it's gonna be, like what are the things I want to cover? So it's all called like mental framework, right? So it doesn't change like whatever you're doing. You can be doing handcraft, you can be doing artist, right? But your main mental frame remains the same. How do you want to perform the job, right? uh Given the situation. So if the market is not right, the interest rates are high, how do you want to still make things work? Does it make sense? All those things you have to go through mentally before you can execute or before you even get a chance to do it, right? So there can be n number of possibility of doing the same thing, but which one you want to pick it for the best situation.
Hmm.
So for me, moving out of multifamily when everybody else is jumping in was the same thing. Like I just went back and like checked all the boxes, like, does it make sense with this interest rate? The prices people are asking, the cap rate people are buying from, the neighborhood people are buying from, and like you're literally like there was a price war in late 2021. Like seller is having 5 offers, so he's not going to budge. You always have to overpay just to get the property. So like those are the things, like if you think logically, you will realize that okay, like these are the red flags you just looking for, that is telling you that don't do it.
Whenever you're buying your multifamily properties, what are you looking for? Are you an A class guy, a C class guy, value add? What do you like? You said you sold your 1,700 door portfolio. So what is your buybacks?
So I don't particularly like class A and class
Okay.
C. My favorite is class B, uh,
Why?
because that's a median household income.
Okay.
There's a reason people are renting it, not living in a house.
Hmm.
So class A apartment rent is almost 2,500 or 3,500. Like here in
Hmm.
Dallas is 3,500.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So just you have to think like, why would somebody pay $3,500 to rent it or not get a mortgage on it
Right.
and get a house? Like at least for $3,500, you can easily get a house with a mortgage on it in
Right.
Dallas. So there is a competition. So those people will be temporary. And the number two factor is like, if what I've seen personally is the people who live in class A, like 50% of them cannot afford it, but they're just living in it just to have that status or whatever you want to call it. I know so many people living in downtown Dallas paying $5,000 rent where they're making $80,000.
That's insane.
Yeah. So basically, they like on books they cannot afford it, but they're still living in it.
Hmm.
So like that, for that purpose, it's not sustainable. So when the economy goes down, those assets is going to hit first.
Right. I agree with you on that one. So why not C class?
C class, just because you have to deal with the tenant
I
more
agree
than you
with you
should.
100%. It's a different demographic.
Yes.
So B class is for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is like your grand scheme? Like what is the thing that what is your ultimate? What do you want to get when you get back into real estate? Are you looking for a certain number of doors? Are you looking to invest in certain areas? Where is your end goal?
So I haven't thought of any end goals that, oh, like
Okay.
if I hit $1 billion or $1 million. But yeah, like if like now I have come to a point where like I want to teach people. I want to get into coaching. So I'm
Hmm.
like mostly like next week or next to next week, I'll be launching my own personal mentoring program. where I'll be
Yay.
teaching capital raising because that's my expertise. So I'll be, literally doing one-on-one personal coaching and mentoring programs where I will be helping people to close their first deal if they have no experience. Like these are the things you look for, right? So I did not had it, but I want to extend my hand, like to somebody who don't have experience and babysit them and make sure they get it right. And if they don't, then I use my power and my knowledge to get it done.
VJ, we are starting to round down on our time.
Sure.
My final three questions I ask all of my guests. Are you ready for them?
Yep.
All right. My first question is, if you had 1 year left, what is something on your bucket list that you would like to accomplish?
Travel
Where to?
all around. So there
Come
is a
on
cruise.
now.
There is a cruise for 250 days all around the world.
Wow.
Maybe I want to try it.
Do it. That sounds phenomenal. Do you think you could be stuck on a boat for 250 days? I know
I
you
don't
get off
know,
at
but
ports. That's a long time.
yeah, I don't know, but it sounds exciting. But
Do it.
some way or the other, I want to travel the world. I still have half of the world left. I want to travel and explore and just explore different culture, different people, different belief, because it's not always about the money. Like I come from humble family. My grandfather was a poor farmer, so I know the value for money. And like when you travel different part of the world, like especially Indonesia, Malaysia, or anybody, you will see that like money is secondary. Like you can have a life that you can enjoy or appreciate with the least money possible, and people are already doing it. So you don't have to cry about $20 that you lost.
I love it. Travel is one of my absolute favorite things. My husband likes to joke that I actually go to work to pay for vacation. I love to travel. I'm a world traveler as well. I enjoy other cultures. I love to eat the food of the other cultures. The weirder it looks, the happier it makes me. I want to eat like the real people. So I love your answer. Question number two, what is a skill that you have always wanted to learn?
Capital raising.
What? Oh, that's
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah, but I always wanted to learn. And like people, basically bottom line is people skill, right?
Okay.
Growing up, I was the most introvert person. I could I was very bad. Like I could not do public speaking. I was very reserved and very like kind of minding my own business. I'm still kind of a person like if I'm not like in a public place, I
Mhm.
still mind my own business. I don't try to try to get into other people's business. But making the transition from being an introvert to selectively extrovert is something I have done it.
That's a great thing to do. I am about as extroverted as it gets. I love to talk. I want to hug people. I love it all. Question number three. If you could go back in time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Investing and financial education, that is something that is so much needed and so much important that like the sooner you learn, the better you are.
Absolutely. Fantastic piece of advice. VJ, you have been absolutely wonderful. For any of my listeners out there who want to get in touch with you or the Future Group, how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. So our website is thefuturegp.com. Like most of the information is there. There is a bunch of free content. I have 3 ebooks that I'm giving out for free on passive income and passive investment. If you're just starting out, we have excellent courses completely free. You just have to sign up for it, and you get all the emails on a daily basis, which is literally walking you real estate 101.
BJ, I will have all of your information and content in the show notes for all of my listeners out there. Guys, I have appreciated your time. If you have enjoyed this episode, leave me a 5-star review. If you didn't like the episode, leave me a review so I know how I have some feedback to improve on. Again, VJ Patel, you have been wonderful. I have appreciate your time. Everyone, I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.